Hello and welcome to Business Influencers. I'm your host, Chris Salem. Hope everyone is having a great week. It has been kind of a cold January so far here in the greater New York City area. You can see right behind me. This isn't actually real, but hey, we'll say it's real, right? But with that being said, it's been a really cold month, but you know what's been hot? It's been off to a great start. And we hope everything is going great for you and your business. Let's make 2022 your year and for your business in terms of rising in level of influence to help others move along in their businesses and their personal lives. Today's show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. They're a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together, but also from fraternities and perhaps businesses that are no longer around. A great opportunity to reconnect with people that you once knew and meet new people from your school. Maybe perhaps they were at a different time, but this is a great way to generally, in an authentic way, connect and begin to forge better and new relationships. Again, it takes all the noise out of social media. Check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, we got a great show from you today. Today's show, again, is produced through TALRadio, and we're going to be talking about the 5 steps to go beyond 6 figures in profit. So this is just a perfect time for this topic as we move forward. And we're going to be talking to Regina Bergman, and she helps high net worth companies and individuals to serve and retain clients while generating high levels of profitability, cash flow, and return on investment. She also gets involved in business profit acceleration strategies. She's also the CEO of Bridgeport Strategy and the host of Pursuing Profit and Principles with Principles podcast. And she's an international best-selling author, speaker, and again, a profit acceleration and exit strategy specialist. And without further ado, we welcome Regina Bergman to the show. Regina, how are you doing today?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Well, you know, this is a great, time of the year here early on here in January. We're actually in the middle part of the month that we are here. And we want to talk about, organizations that are really looking to scale, even individuals that are looking to scale to new high levels of profitability. Perhaps that 2022 is going to be their best year ever, even through this really difficult time that we've been going through. Can you talk about some of the things that right now that might be, before we start what's working, why certain companies and people, maybe have not moved ahead like they desired to do so?
Oh, good question. Good question. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here today. And I love your philosophy and your approach to the new year. We're totally in sync here. I love new beginnings and see them throughout the year, but especially in January. But I see every Monday as a new beginning, right? We have exactly. A new week. And so, one of the biggest cited reasons for business failure is a lack of profitability and cash flow. And I think the number is something like 93% of businesses that fail cite lack of profitability and cash flow as the reason that they failed. And there are a lot of things that contribute to that. And then there's also not only the contributing factors, but there's also the impact in our lives when we're not creating that profitability. And so there's one of the things that I do is identify about 40 different areas in your business that we can focus on.
Wow.
To get more profitability.
You have a checklist, I take it.
Yeah, we've got a big checklist of things that we can work on in your business to create more profitability. And the good news is, Chris, most of those require no investment of money, but of time, of making sure that you have things working properly in your business, whether it's you putting in the time or your staff putting in the time. But there are things that we need to do and do more consistently. I think consistency is probably one of the biggest enemies of the business owner.
I love that word. If you could hone in on that, because we talk about discipline and consistency here on this show all the time.
Absolutely. I know it's my biggest bane. It's, a lack of consistency. Anytime anyone asks me why I'm not where I want to be, the answer is lack of consistency. And so, especially if you're a small business, you may be doing this as a solopreneur. And, sometimes we think, well, as a solopreneur, there's a limit to how much money we can make. Okay, I'm only going to be making X because it's just me. But truly, you can make big dollars as a solopreneur if you build it right. There's a lot of opportunity there. But consistency becomes that key, that you've got to have processes and procedures in place to do things consistently. You've got to have automation in place to do things consistently. And I think we typically fall down in those areas, and creating that automation and knowing what to automate and how to automate it, and knowing where to put our energy. If you're already, we talk about high net worth companies. If you're already making six figures and beyond, there are probably just some small tweaks that can really accelerate your growth.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. If you could, because there's probably, we get a lot of people here on Business Influencers from, this could be mom and pop business, could be a small to mid-sized company. It could be, there's also Fortune 500 company executives, as well as speakers, coaches, consultants. But let's tailor in on, let's say these consultants and coaches, because they might be in that category where maybe they're making six figures, maybe low six figures. Right. They're finally starting to see the light and where this could go. What is the difference between where they are right now and where they could be now moving towards seven figures in terms of revenue in their business?
There's a few things. One of them is really that it's really hard for us to take that objective view of our business. It's one of the biggest mistakes that small businesses make is not getting outside help.
Yes.
Not getting a pair of outside eyes on what we're doing that may have other processes for us to put in place, that may have additional expertise and understanding of what it takes to grow that business and to create that solid foundation. You mentioned in my bio that I'm an exit strategy specialist as well. Yeah. That comes from building your business right to start with.
Yes, I agree.
You
got to have that business valuation, right?
Exactly. 95% of the calls that a business broker takes from someone who wants to sell their business, they have zero to offer that business because they didn't build it right from the beginning. Yeah. They didn't build a business that has a resale value, that is marketable, that can run without them, that has recurring revenue, that has everything in place that new business owner would want. They turn away 95% of the calls that they get. And then the calls they do take, only a small percentage of them are they able to really help.
Yeah.
Because we didn't build the business properly from the get-go, because we didn't know. It's not your fault, folks. It's not your fault. We don't know what we don't know. And that's particularly true about building a business, particularly if you worked for someone else before. You had an outside view of what that owner was doing, not an inside view. And so you look at that and you say, oh, I could do what he's doing, or I can do what she's doing. And you go out and you start your new business because you don't want to work for somebody else anymore. But you don't know what you don't know about running a successful business, about creating a successful business that has a future. So when you're ready to move on to your next adventure, you have something to sell. Yeah. And we just don't know what we don't know.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times we get caught up in what we don't know rather than what we know. And then, like you said, seeking help for the things that we don't know.
Yeah. And so getting that outside pair of eyes on what we're doing, and someone who has the systems, knows what you need to put into place, can help you assess. One of the things that I do is what I call a profit acceleration assessment, where we can come in and look at 40 different areas in your business and find the hidden profit and revenue in those 40 areas in your business, and then give a roadmap to you of how to capture that, how to move forward with that and implement those 40 different areas in your business.
Yeah.
And again, most of this is not cost. It doesn't have a cost attached to it in terms of, oh, I've got to go out and spend all of this money on marketing, on ads, on whatever. No, 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 no. There's so much you can do without having to do that.
Yeah. What would you say, like somebody that, they're listening right now, and regardless of where they are in their business, like, and you talked about these, there could be at least 40 checkpoints that you could look at. Let's hone in on something you think that's something that affects most businesses that they should be looking at right now, and not to become overwhelmed, but, say, hey, maybe this could be the first thing I can look at to start moving forward. So if I'm looking to scale, become more profitable, and really get more cash flow coming in each week in my business, if you could shed some insight on that.
Let me give you two.
All right.
I'll give you a bonus. I'll give you two. The first one is what we call a market dominating position. This is how you stand out in the market, and it affects literally everything in your business. And we don't spend enough time on it. When I do a profit acceleration assessment for a business, that is where I find the greatest impact on profit, revenue, and value in the company, is on that market dominating position, getting clear on what your message is so that you are not one of many. You're the only doing what you do, right? You're the only one. You stand out in the crowd. And so getting really clear on that, there's about 5 different elements to that to get that right. And so we spend, deep dive into that. We spend quite a bit of time on that. When I work with a client, that could be 6 to 8 weeks of really getting that honed in properly and tweaking it and making sure that we're implementing it across the board in that company. The second thing is knowing exactly who your ideal client is, so that you're not pitching to everybody, because if the saying, if you're pitching to everybody, you're pitching to no one, right?
Exactly. You're the jack of all trades, master none. You're trying to be everything for everyone, and that
it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And you need to be clear on what your passion is, because your passion will attract your ideal client because they have that same passion. And it will naturally attract them to you. So as you're defining your market dominating position and who your ideal client is and who you really want to serve and why, and getting crystal clear on that, can make a huge difference in the success of your business now and in the long term.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's great. So in terms of like if we were looking at that, what are some things that you help businesses do in that area? Because like a lot of times they, the marketing side and the market analysis, they think they know, but they really haven't done enough, a deep dive in really understanding that. Doesn't mean they have to know everything, because if you try to know everything, that doesn't work either.
No, that doesn't work.
But just knowing enough that you know what to exploit or fill the void or be more compelling to that avatar or that audience.
Yeah. So again, first of all, knowing, who you are and where you want to go. I mean, that's important. And then diving into those 2 things we just talked about, your market dominating position, getting clear on that, who you are in the marketplace and how you're different from everyone else, who it is that you want to serve and why. Then we can look at, several other areas. Like I said, we can look at up to 40 different areas in your business. Would you ask the question again, please,
yes.
Chris?
Something about like the market. That's okay. The market. We talked about market analysis,
right?
Kind of as a strategy, and just again, not understanding that and knowing how they can then exploit that. Who knows how that is? Maybe, and I know for me in my business, it's through speaking. It's through podcasts that you and I are on right now.
Right.
It's through video. Now, some people, it could come through their writing. Some people are really great. They connect with their audience through their blogs, their articles. Maybe they have multiple books. I mean, it could be a wide variety. There could be obviously content on social media. There could be advertisements. So there could be a variety of different things, but things like that, you want to shed some insight.
Yeah. And, I'm glad you asked that, because one of the projects that I have going on right now is working with an associate out of England, where we are putting together book projects for entrepreneurs or C-suite executives who want to increase their visibility in the market. And as a beginning of their journey, where we are including them in a collaborative book. So they have a chapter in the book and they have some marketing in that book. And then we can take them down the road of how they get more and more exposure to what they're doing and become that thought leader in their area. So there's a plethora of things that we can do, but it needs to be focused. And I think too often we take a shotgun approach to it. And I'm going to try this. That didn't work. I'm going to try this. That didn't work. And we do this shotgun approach instead of getting strategic. We become tactical instead of being strategic. So I think that the real key, the real answer is that we have to strategically look at what is the pathway, and then we stay on the path as opposed to using the shotgun. And then we look at that strategically, periodically, to say, is this path working? Is there, do we need to tweak it, adjust it? Are we going in the right direction? Are we achieving the results that we set out to achieve? So I think that testing and measuring is an important element, and measuring along the way. But again, that getting very strategic and not using the shotgun approach to how we're going to do that, but having the goal, the intention to start with, makes a huge difference in whether or not you reach the end. I'm reminded of Alice in Wonderland when she asked the Cheshire Cat, and you could probably help me with the exact language there, but the cat said, if you don't care where you're going to end up, it doesn't matter which road you take, right?
It's true.
So, you've got to know where you want to go. That's key to start with, is where do you want to go? Who do you want to serve and why? Really getting crystal clear on all of that helps inform the strategic plan that you're going to create.
And I love what you just said, because that is such a thing I've seen with people in my business, that they don't have a plan. Like, they have an idea and they're just kind of going with it. They see what other people are doing, but they only see it from the outside. They don't know
exactly
the inside what that successful entity did to get to where they are. And they just think that, by observing what they see from the outside, they'll have the same thing, but it doesn't work. You got to have that intention, like you said, that plan, something that you can start to break things down and focus, more focused. Yeah.
Right. You've got to start with the broad picture and then back into what does that mean on a daily basis. One of the things that I'm doing with my group coaching, one of my group coaching groups that I'm working with at the moment, is that we're working on, what do your goals look like this year, and we're breaking that down to not just what's my end goal, but how many new leads do I need to get every day, every week to achieve that? How many conversions do I need every day, every week? How many sales, what's my revenue goal for the week, for the month, and on down through that, so that informs then the steps you have to take when you break that goal down to daily, weekly, monthly. What steps do I have to take? What has to be on my calendar today?
Yeah. And I love what you just said there at the end. You said, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people ask me, well, Chris, how do I know what I'm going to be doing next week? I don't know. You're right. We don't. There's certain things we don't know. But if I get caught up in the control I can't control, or what I don't know, then I'm not moving forward. But I know these are the things that I can do every day in my business. This is the things I can do to get my mind focused in the right way each and every. I know the things that I have to do. I have a daily routine I do every morning.
Right.
I can do that every day for the rest of my life. I can write that down 7 days a week. You mentioned it because that is so important in how it accumulates. It's like a snowball and how it leads to those results that we're aiming for.
So if you start with that annual goal, and maybe you start with that 5-year goal, and you break it down to 3 years, and now, this year. So again, you're always working backwards from the bigger goal. And so this year, this is what I want to achieve. Okay, let's divide that by 12. What do I have to do this month? Okay, let's
Yeah.
divide that by 20. What do I have to do every day this month to achieve that monthly goal, to keep me on track for that annual goal, for that 5-10-year goal? And it's always that reversing that down to, what do I need to do right now?
Yeah. And
And book it in.
And you don't have to be a Six Sigma practitioner, right?
No.
We could do it, but like you said, the more we can break it down to what we know and make it like smaller, achievable chunks that we could chip away at. And I find, do you find like again, our attention span in our today's world is very limited, right?
Totally.
This is why this podcast went from an hour to a half an hour. Right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, but I find that people, like, if you could break it down into smaller chunks, they tend to commit more and be more focused to do it, other than trying to do everything all at once.
I absolutely agree, which is when I work with clients, I give them a 1-week assignment.
Yes.
This is what we got to get done this week. We're not going to worry about the rest of it. We've broken it down to, this is what we've got to do this week to be on track for that long-term goal.
Yeah.
And then hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah. Could you hone in on that? Because that's so important about accountability, because that is, to me, when I hear accountability, that's like the glue that makes everything stick.
It is. And that kind of comes right back around to what we talked about in the beginning about lack of consistency. Yeah. If we're having a lack of consistency, we're not holding ourselves accountable to achieving the results we set out to do. But I think part of that accountability means you've got to have some tools in place as well, whether that's your planner, whether it's an online system. There are several out there. I could name, 3 or 4 easily that, folks would recognize that you could be using to help keep things under control. But you need some systems in place. You need some tools to help you stay accountable. Yeah. I liken a lot of what I do to providing you with a business GPS. If you think about a GPS, it gives you, 3 different areas. It gives you the directions that you need to go to get from here. If I want to come from me to where you are, it can tell me how to get there. I don't know how to get there, but it can tell me how to get there. And then as I go down that road, if it will tell me, turn here, go there, do this, do that. And if I make a mistake, it'll say, make a U-turn, go, you missed that. And as a coach, that's what you get is in my business, you get a business GPS. I'm going to show you how to get from here to there. I'm going to tell you step by step what to do to get there. And if we miss something, we're going to go back and catch it.
Yes, exactly. No, I love that. I love the process and the guide. It's so important. If we got a few minutes left, and I want to leave some time let people know how they can get in touch with you. What can you sum up, Regina, in like a minute of what we're talking today here about, these steps to go beyond 6 figures in profit? It's something you want to kind of like just bring it all together for everybody.
Sure. So there are about 5 things, as we, our title today was 5 steps, right? So let's quickly take a look at those in recap. One is you've got to set your intentions and your goals. You've got to know where you want to go.
Yes.
And then break that down. My second step is to conduct that profit assessment of your business to identify the potential increases in revenue, profit, and valuation. Where is that hidden in your business? It's there. Yeah. We just need to find it and bring it out and create a path for doing it. And so then we prioritize up to 40 different areas of work in your business. It could take us 2 years to cover those 40 areas in terms of getting them all in place. And every year that's additional income, additional profit and value in your business, because we create that roadmap to follow for the next 12 months. And then we create the next 12 months roadmap and so forth. And then finally hiring that coach to guide you through the process so that you are achieving the goal. Someone who holds your feet to the fire. My coaching
accountability,
clients,
yes.
Accountability. My coaching clients and I joke all the time about put on your asbestos shoes because I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. So invest in those asbestos shoes because
absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, it is a process. And like we talked about from the very beginning, you don't know what you don't know about running a business. And if you don't know it, you don't know who to ask or what to ask. And so that's why you need somebody who's been down that road before.
Absolutely. Somebody like you said to guide you It's not here that you're going to do it for them, but you're going to guide them.
You're going to guide them, give them the steps, hold them accountable, hold their hand. I'm a great hand holder. Ask any of my clients. I'm the best hand holder there ever was. And help remove that overwhelm.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Well, that's powerful. That's powerful. No, I love what you shared there. And it is so important a part of this. I would like you to share with the audience, a little bit about, your coaching program, where they can get in touch with you, what you're up to, and anything that you'd like to provide them here today, here on the show.
Awesome. Well, one of the things I would love to provide is something fairly new in my business, and it's a simulator to allow someone to go in and play with the numbers for their business. You need 3 numbers when you start. You need to know what your annual revenue is, your gross revenue. You need to know your gross profit margin and your net profit margin. And it's amazing how many business owners don't know those last 2 things.
They don't know.
So if you don't know them, I'm going to suggest you throw in 50% as a gross profit margin and 20% as a net profit margin. Okay. If you don't know what your numbers are, but it'll give you something to play with. Then there's a slider scale. You put those 3 numbers in, and then there's a slider scale that you can choose what kind of a percentage of profit you want to look at, or a percent of increase. I'm going to suggest you use about 3%. We want to be ultra conservative, because the key is that small incremental improvements make a dramatic impact on your bottom line.
Yes.
And so we just need small improvements. How many of you think you can make a 3% improvement over the course of the next year? Pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
So just put in 3%. And then let the machine do its job. And it will show you, first of all, in 12 different areas, what you can achieve in additional profit in your business over the next 12 months. Then you can take it deeper, and it will look at the 40 areas we've talked about. And then you can click another button, and it'll send you a report that gives you a roadmap of what to do to achieve that. And then you can book an appointment with me if you'd like, and we could take a look at your business specifically to, to implement that in your business.
That's
I'm going to
wonderful.
Pop this link into the chat for you here.
Sure. And we'll make sure that we share that. Great.
Yeah. And so it's no cost. It's no cost to go in there and play with that. And if you're not making as much as you want to right now, you could also play with a larger number just to see what that would look like. If you're not at 6 figures yet, put in $100,000 and see what that would look like. It'll amaze you and hopefully spur you on to say, I want that sooner rather than later.
Wonderful. So we're going to share that link, and then can they also find you on LinkedIn?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're on LinkedIn, Facebook. I have a Facebook group called Entrepreneurial Leaders Making a Difference that we'd love to invite you to join. And that's the name of it, Entrepreneurial Leaders Making a Difference. So you can find us on Facebook. I also have my podcast, PursuingProfitWithPrinciples.com, as well as an E360 TV show by the same name that airs every Monday morning at 8:00 Central Time. And so, lots of ways you can find me out there.
Beautiful. Well, Regina, we want to thank you very much for being here and taking time out of your schedule to share with us, these insights and how we can scale our businesses to the next level. It's all about business influence, and you are a business influencer, and we are grateful here to have you today. Listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Business Influencers through TALRadio. And again, we promise to bring in people like Regina in each and every week, sharing their words and wisdom, and more importantly, their personal experience in helping you to move your personal success in business to the next level. Till next time, I want to wish everyone a successful January. We'll see you next week with another guest expert, and stay warm. We'll talk soon.
Bye-bye.